Thank you. I think we are ready, right?
You push the button.
Yes. I did.
Good evening.
Here we go. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the March 20th, 2023 Town Council meeting. If you'll please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you. My goodness, we have a crowd in the audience. Okay, well, we have public comment. This portion of the meeting is specifically set aside for comments from the public who are asked to limit their comments to 2 minutes. Any person interested in providing public comment should email publicmeetings@rockyhillct.gov and will be provided with a link to attend the meeting and instructions on how to participate. So with that said, I will call up the public. You just come right up.
Good evening. Is this on? My name is Mary Beth Maluccio, 4 Kroll Farm Road. I'm here still as an advocate for curbside food scrap recycling. During the last town council meeting, I spoke about the DEEP grant and how West Hartford was using their grant to move forward with their curbside food scrap hauler. I was so proud last July to be one of the only 6 towns that were granted money to pilot a curbside program for composting. I've since learned from DEEP that Rocky Hill is the only town that has not moved forward with implementation of the program. I was sorry to hear that, but I kind of knew that. We haven't even accepted the grant yet. I really don't want to see us continue to fall behind when we were once upon a time a pioneer in the effort to create a more sustainable town. I've been doing my homework on this issue, and I'm not alone. There are several residents in addition to me, including members of the Rocky Hill Sustainability Task Force, who've met with recycling coordinators from other towns with grants to learn about how they have brought their programs to life. These coordinators are happy to share what they know, and we have learned a lot from them. While these towns are larger and can afford to have dedicated recycling coordinators, we volunteers are happy to help our Public Works Department learn more about the opportunities available to us and the value that it will bring to us in terms of our quality of life, but also to save money on trash hauling. As a matter of fact, I would like to invite Mr. Carpentino and our public works staff, including Joe Lentini, who spoke at our last meeting, and even a town councilor or two, to join our group on our tours. The more you know, the more you will see the value that this grant can provide to our town, and you will have the same sense of urgency that we do to get started. The days of landfills and trash-to-energy plants that burn the trash are becoming obsolete. They're harmful to the environment and to human health. What we need now is to reduce or recycle what we now know is not trash. Food scraps are not trash. They are a valuable reusable resource. We have businesses that collect this valuable resource in front of our house, like Blue Earth Compost, among others. We also have businesses that turn food scraps into compost, like Quantum Biopower, that enrich our food supply, our gardens, and our farms. Quantum Biopower does this by composting in an indoor facility that doesn't burn anything, which is counter to what some people believe, like the trash-to-energy plants, which do burn trash, or did when they were working. Their processes at the biopower is fully indoors. The decaying food scraps in the pipes produce heat and methane gas, but rather than escaping and polluting our environment, the heat is turned into electricity and the gas is used as fuel. What remains is high-quality compost, which Quantum Biopower sells to farms, plant nurseries, or places like Home Depot. The end result is that we send 30% less trash to the landfills. We also save money. USA Hauling, aka Murphy Road or Trash Away, has on their website that each resident in Rocky Hill creates 965 pounds of trash per year. Each one of us. Multiply that by 20,845 residents, and our town creates over 20,115,000 pounds of trash per year. USA charges by the ton, and in 2023, we will pay $103 per ton for a total of over $1,036,000. This doesn't even include yearly price increases through 2027, as well as the extra costs associated with contamination, which occurs when residents put things in the trash or recycle bins that don't belong there, like hazardous waste or things that are not meant to be recycled. Unfortunately, we know that there are some residents who don't know what the rules are, or maybe they don't care. I hope that's not true. But if they knew that it costs us money, maybe they would. Finally, we are a farming community. We have $750,000 to create a food separation program. West Hartford's grant, we learned in our tour, is much less than ours, and they are using it to service 680 households with Blue Earth. We learned that our grant may cover the cost of servicing our entire town. I think we need to ask them for a formal quote to provide us with their service so we can get back out in front where we used to be on this topic. Thank you.
Anybody else? Okay. Moving on, appointments and resignations. Councillor Duff?
No appointments or resignations from our side.
Okay, and we don't have any either. Approval of the minutes, Town Council meeting March 6, 2023.
Motion to approve the minutes from the March 6th meeting?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I abstain because I wasn't at that.
Thank you. Motion to approve Town Council special meeting March 7th, 2023. Sorry.
I'll make that motion to approve the special meeting of March 7th.
I'll second.
Before we say anything, what discussion? What would you like to discuss?
Keep going. I have one item after this discussion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
At your desk, you have the schedule for the budget.
Okay.
I'd recommend you amend the agenda to add that for approval.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'll make a motion to amend the agenda, new business item D, approval of the 23-24 budget schedule.
I'll second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Wonderful. Subcommittee reports, finance.
The Finance Committee meeting was canceled, so no report.
Thank you. Government ops.
Government Operations has not met since our last town council meeting. We are next scheduled to meet on Monday, April 2nd.
Okay. Public safety.
Yeah, so public safety did meet this evening, and from the fire department, we had incidents responded to 71, training hours recorded 346, firefighter injuries reported 0, thankfully. Year-to-date number for incidents is 121. Year-to-date training hours is 892, and injuries reported is 0 again, thankfully. And there were, revenue recovery program, which the fire department is participating in, is new, has 2 new chargeable events, and they responded to 2 motor vehicle accidents with fluids on the roadway. So that was part of the 2 chargeable events. And then they have 23 limited access highway forms were completed for a total of $11,500 to be billed. And they have a health and safety committee meeting scheduled for February that was postponed, which is going to be rescheduled. In the big incident this month, the fire and other first responders were called to an emergency activation at Concierge with some CO issues in the 400 building. So fire, police, EMS, everybody responded to the scene with human services and emergency management to evaluate and assist. Thankfully, there were the incident was without any casualties, injuries, or anything like that, which is really, really thankfully, just because of one CO detector. So this is, if there was an ad, a poster for a $30 CO detector to be put in your house, this is it. Because it saved a lot of lives. When they entered the building, there were high concentrations of CO in the entrance. And as they went through the building, they had to evacuate the building. And it was just a fortunate event. And thankfully, that CO detector, the person who had it installed, because it's not a requirement, we are told, in the town, and generally speaking, CO detectors are not required. We had that conversation this afternoon, but we'll have more on that coming up in the next public safety meeting as well. So this was the cause of the incident, seems to be the boilers which were installed, the new boilers by concierge, and they had a malfunction, and that resulted in that CO leakage. So everything, and I think the state agency for the whichever the agency which takes care of the boilers and equipment like that was involved as well. So they did the thorough checkup of the building. I guess again, in the end, nothing bad happened here. So thankfully, everything turned out to be okay. But again, please install that $30 detector in your house. I think it can save lives if you ever needed any evidence of that. It's right here. So from the police, they had the ALICE program, which is continuing to be supervised and updated through Sergeant Morgan and Lieutenant Phelps, and they have been doing those trainings. And we had like a conversation about school SROs this afternoon as well. The chief, we like to get updates from the chief periodically on SROs and school safety, and he was able to give us a little bit of an insight into emergency preparedness for any eventuality, like any incidents we need to respond to for the police. They have a chain of command in place. They have 2 SROs. One for the high school, and there's another SRO which rotates between 4 schools. And then the chief informed us that as an update from last year, they used to have those 2 SROs, but this year they also have another SRO, which is another officer who acts as an SRO part-time. So in effect, we have 2.5 SROs who go around the schools, one dedicated to high school and the other to floating between the other schools, if you will. And it was the chief seems to be satisfied with the staffing levels at this point, and at the schools, and he seems pretty confident with our emergency staff of our response times and any need to respond to any school situations. So I just wanted to bring this council up to speed on that, because we like to revisit the SROs and the school preparedness at the public safety at least twice a year. So this was one of my first updates, and I will keep you guys posted. So that's about it, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you. Moving on to senior liaison.
Senior liaison has not met, so no report.
Okay. Land acquisition and farmland preservation.
We have not met since our last session. Our next meeting is March 28th.
Okay, thank you. Liaison to the state rep and the state senator.
We don't have Councilor Sharma today.
Okay. School liaison.
Yes, thank you, Madam Mayor. So there are like a few really good news stories coming out of the school system. So number one is, I think we had this public comment few minutes ago about food scraps. So Rocky Hill schools are exploring the possibility of introducing a composting initiative in the schools. And the Board of Education Curriculum Committee will be meeting on Wednesday, March 22nd at 6 p.m. at the Mosier School. So they want input from the community. So all of you who are interested in providing that input, please join that meeting. And yeah, it's a great initiative. It's an exciting initiative for our students and our community. And I think if we can make this work, I think we will, like somebody said in the public comment, I think we can be leaders in this space. And I think there's no better place to start than our schools on this stuff. Like, I'm convinced, like, there's always this conversation, is it like apathy or is it like, okay, but I think if you start early, there's no apathy, right? People are engaged, students are engaged, and I think our schools are taking the right steps in that direction. So please, let your voice be heard if you want to. At the Mosier School, 6 p.m., March 22nd, for everybody who's watching from home. I also, Madam Mayor, I want to bring you up to date on a couple of bills which are going around at the state legislature. There were like according to the CD Mirror, there were a dozen bills that were passed around last Friday, and including two bills that were up for public testimony, right? And several bills, including HB 6663, was part of that, which is a Bill of Rights for parents of English language learners, unanimously passed the committee. Not much debate, not very controversial. It was headed to the Appropriations Committee. However, there was a bill, Senate Bill 1095, which seeks to clarify the role of school resource officers, very pertinent to what we were talking just a few minutes ago, including specifying their duties. So according to City News Junkie, Senator Gary Winfield of New Haven, who co-chairs the Judiciary Committee, said that he's proposing legislation through this bill building on a 2015 law which requires district with SROs to enter a memorandum of understanding, an MOU, to document what their officers' roles were. And when the bill was passed, according to Senator Winfield, he said that those MOUs were not fleshed out, so he wants more clarity on those roles, and he wants to bring oversight, and he wants to correct some of those misunderstandings, according to him, through this new bill. He has proposed legislation that should include elements like minimum training requirements for SROs and prohibitions on use of chemical agents like pepper sprays or certain types of restraints. So this is our police force has been a community policing force, and we don't have issues like this, but I guess the senator is worried about certain school districts where this seems to be happening a lot, I guess, interaction of police with kids, and I think that's what he's supposed to be worried about. But this clarification is not like it's not unanimous. There was a lot of debate at the General Assembly about this, and there are a lot of views about what the role of a school resource officer should be, and should it be performed by a staff member, because that's what the bill proposes, the senator's bill, Senator Winfield's bill, and there are a lot of senators and representatives who are not supportive of that. So a lot to come on this. I just wanted to keep everybody at the council updated on this. This is also has some moving parts, and it does directly affect our schools and our public safety. So that's about it, Madam Mayor. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Capital improvements.
Capital improvements has not met. Our next meeting is Wednesday, the 22nd at 5 p.m.
Thank you. Economic development.
That committee has not met, and there is no report.
Okay, thank you. There's nothing on the consent agenda, so we'll go over that to old business A, discussion, possible action, American Rescue Plan ARP funding options. I think we're scared because it's budget season, so we're going to move over to new business A, discussion, possible action, raising of Greek flag on March 27th, 2023 for Greek Independence Day. I don't know if that gentleman was here, but if I can tell you, if you want to put a motion on the table, I can tell you about that. Anybody?
Is there a presentation or a concept?
There's no,
there?
yeah, I can tell you the concept.
So would the motion be just to discuss?
Yeah,
the
just to
display?
discuss it, yeah.
I'll make a motion to display a Greek flag in honor of the Greek Independence Day somewhere on the grounds of the town campus.
All right, is there a second?
Second.
All right. In terms of discussion, so a member of the community reached out to me with respect to Greek Independence Day, which is right around the corner, and said that there are a number of municipalities that have gotten together in the greater Hartford region that will be flying the flag. And I indicated that we don't have a flag policy. We visited this when we had the Ukrainian flag presented to us. But in lieu of hoisting it up a flagpole, we displayed it down in the lobby of the when you first come into town hall.
I think we did it for a week.
So I don't know how long we did it for.
I think it was 2 weeks, wasn't it?
What?
Yeah, I think it might have been 2 weeks.
2 weeks?
Pretty short, yeah.
Yeah, I don't think we would. I mean, I was thinking maybe we would display it 24 hours or 48 hours because it's a 1 day Independence Day. But so I'm thinking that the person didn't come because I said that's what I'll bring up to the council. So if everyone is okay with that and was willing to entertain that, we can take a vote. Or if you have any questions,
Do we need to amend the motion to say where, or is it broad enough? I don't know.
I think we can leave it up to, It might even be nice to do it down in the community senior center where actually people could see it, right?
I guess I'd just caution that the way it's described here says the raising of the Greek flag, which to me suggests, putting up on the flagpole as opposed to what I think what we're talking about here is putting it in the lobby.
Understood, but the motion was not that.
Yeah, okay. I just want to
But if you want to amend the agenda, we could. If
I
you
don't think-
feel procedurally that would be best, we
Yeah,
can do that.
I'm
Go
not saying
ahead.
we need to amend the agenda.
Okay.
Just be clear that what we're voting on is explicit, that's the nature of the display we're talking about.
Perfect. Great. Anyone else?
Do we want to just clarify the date? Do we have the date?
The 27th.
Of March?
Yeah.
Okay. That way folks, because between our meetings, that way folks want to come and see, and on the Greek Independence Day, they're able to, they know where it'll be.
Yeah. Any questions? Okay, good. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Discussion, possible action, subsection B, award of bid, Stevens School HVAC.
Yes, ordinarily we'd have the award of bids go through the Finance Committee, but since we did have a cancellation and I didn't want to hold up the progress for the Board of Ed on this project, this is an approval for the award of bid. They had a bid for the Stevens School HVAC project. They had a few bids come in. West State Mechanical was the lowest bid, came in at $488,800. They are doing this project in 2 phases. First phase being the $343,923, which is the unit. Phase 2 will be the electrical installation once it arrives. So the money is available in the town capital non-reoccurring fund for the phase 1 of $343,923. So this is a recommendation to award the bid to West State Mechanical for the Stevens School HVAC project.
Just ask
Yeah.
a question. Mona, the way this is written, are both Phase 1 and Phase 2 going to West State Mechanical?
Yes.
Okay, because it says add alternate Phase 2 for electric work reviewed by the Board of Education at a later date.
And they will be reviewing that because we're funding the 343, 923 Phase 1 through the capital non-reoccurring. Board of Ed will go through the process and look at available funds once they're ready to do the Phase 2 of the electrical.
Okay, so is the intention here just to improve the Phase 1?
Correct.
Okay.
Okay.
So should you want to make, or you want?
You can, either.
With that, I'd like to make a motion to the award of the bid for the Stevens School HVAC to West State Mechanical of Torrington, Connecticut, just a Phase 1 portion for the base bid of $343,923.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Okay. Subsection C, discussion Rocky Hill Historical Society website presentation.
Just 1 minute, okay? You don't have to bring it down quite yet.
Once it goes.
Once it goes, it goes. It's not, oh, there it goes back up.
It's like a cargo ship.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Ed Ciccarello. Tonight I'm in front of you as the president of the Rocky Hill Historical Society, and I want to present to you the new and exciting Rocky Hill Center Cemetery website. I also want to introduce all of our volunteers here from the Historical Society, and our town historian Bob Heron is here, and also Mark Ambrose from who did the tech work for the website. We are very excited about our website because it's a public website. We think that it's going to help to preserve and promote our history, benefit us genealogically through research, and we're really hoping that our schools will be able to also use this website. The website, this new website is sort of the answer to a very long-standing problem in Center Cemetery. And the problem is, where is anybody buried? A wayfinding thing. I would get calls every now and then at the Historical Society, and they would say, well, I understand Susan Weber is buried at Center Cemetery. For all of you who don't know, Susan Weber is a survivor of the Titanic, very famous to our third graders who tour Rocky Hill. And so in the past, what I would do is I would call Bob Heron, our town historian, and more than likely he would make an appointment, and he would actually walk out to the cemetery, and he would show the people where Susan Weber is buried. And now I'm proud to tell you that Susan Weber is in Section 2, Lot 438. After making one map and 6 grids, taking 3,154 pictures, and uploading 2,433 to the website, we've come to a milestone. Historically, you have to understand that this is a moment in time. And my good friend Bob Heron will attest that people over the years have tried to do it and have done what we're doing. They've tried to map this cemetery out since the beginning. The first grave was put there in 1731. And in 1899, a gentleman named Edward Tillotson wrote a book called Wethersfield Inscriptions. And he wrote down all the inscriptions in Center Cemetery. In 1932-35, Charles Hale, during the Works Progress Administration, also recorded all the inscriptions, more stones, more inscriptions, and he did 2,000 other cemeteries. Ray Evans in 1961 did a list, again, pencil and paper list of all the veterans in Center Cemetery. And then in the 1980s, the Historical Society got involved. People like Sandy Brown, Grace Cohn, Joan Tennyson, June Cook, they wrote up little index cards, and they took black and white pictures. And then it wasn't until 2017 that Bob took all of that stuff, including Find a Grave and Billion Graves, and he put that all in an Excel spreadsheet. And without that, this wouldn't have happened. Just recently, I took all the newest ones from 2001 to the present. So we have a comprehensive list, but again, this is a moment in time for us. It's a milestone. I'd like to thank certainly Bob, Ray Sweezy, who has been there for us the whole time, Lori Wallace. And this whole project wouldn't have happened if it weren't for Maria Labrio and Rose Hill Memorial Park. A year ago, I was researching how do we make our town cemetery look like Rose Hill, the website. I called her up and I asked her, and in the conversation, she said, Ed, we really like to help small cemeteries. Would you like us to provide you with a tech person to do that? And my jaw just dropped. And so that was the key for us to get to this point. Maria hired Mark Ambrose, who's right over here. Mark, give a wave. And Mark has been basically the director and the collaborator to sort of lead us down the road. In April, I met with the Finance Committee and asked them for their permission not to spend a cent. They gave us that permission, asking us, what do you want? I said, all I want is your permission. But that permission, it was something we needed because we had to talk to the town clerk. We had to get involved with the town in regards to a town property because the Center Cemetery is a town-owned property and it's run the responsibility of the Finance Committee to make decisions on that. From April to December, we started to do the research, and we bought a domain name, Rocky Hill Center Cemetery, sometime in May, and it's on the Historical Society. We got the $135 a year. That's a piece of cake. That's easy. We met with Ray Carpentino and Mona and Parks and Rec to actually talk about a sustainable plan for the cemetery, not just the website, but looking at the cemetery fund, the preservation of stones, the fixing of stones, landscaping, signage, and of course the website. And then lastly, I just want to thank our, and then we're going to bring this down again. I took all those pictures, and all those pictures had to be renumbered, and they all had to be uploaded. And so I didn't do all of it, and I want to thank the people who did. Marta Olenek, who is over here, you could wave. And then other people that are from the community. Victor Zarelli got involved. Lori Wallace, Tim Honan, Jen Ritchie, who was here. John Emanuel, Marion Noonan, and Karen Knipp, who actually lived in Las Vegas, was involved in this project. So if we could bring it down, then I'd like to share with you this new exciting website. We think it's a beautiful design. If you look at it, you can see the pictures of Center Cemetery. And if you click, there's 3 different pictures. That's the Robbins Crypt. And there's actually 2 deers, or a deer and a doe, one day when we were out cleaning. If you go down the homepage, and I'm just going to give you a quick tour, and then we're going to go into the search engine. I'm going to search through 3 people. You see on this welcome section a beautiful sign that was put up by Parks and Rec probably 3 years ago or so. And in this welcome, you can see the how much each burial costs. So it's you all know, of course, that this is a working cemetery. Everybody calls Ray Sweezy, and Ray's name is there, and Sandra, our town clerk, is there from the town. If you click on this button here, you'll get to the Historical Society site for more history. I know some of you will do that when you go home. And on the bottom, you can see Rose Hill on the left and Rocky Hill Historical Society on the right. And as I said, this website has been made possible through the financial support of Rose Hill Memorial Park. And on the bottom, you'll see DTG, which is Mark Ambrose's company who created this. We have a history page. Again, more history. Funny how things like that would happen with a historical society. This handwritten note is by Andrew Twaddle, who wrote the Rocky Hill part of Wethersfield and Her Daughters. And I'm going to skip search for a second. We have a contribute page where you can click on this button and you could send us pictures, or you could send us documents, and we would upload them. You could become a friend of Center Cemetery. You can see that crew over there. That's one of our cleaning days. And over here on the left is we were raising a stone. This is Ruth Shapley Brown of the Gravestone Network. And you could donate here. It's not set up right now, but it will be set up to PayPal if somebody wanted to help donate for our stones. You know it costs money to do that. And this is Randall Nelson fixing a stone. We have a contact us over here, but let's go to the search because that's the exciting part of it all. You could see you could search by different names, first name, last name, and I'm going to put Weber in there because that's who I mentioned initially. And if you click on the search button, you could see that there's 3 Webers. Susan Weber is here. It tells you the section, the lot number, whether she's a veteran, war era, and so we'll click on view details. And every page is the same. It'll show you the stone, the person's name, the section, the lot, date of birth, date of death, whether or not they're a veteran. And if we have the information, the branch, of course, and then the inscription, which Bob Heron says will tell you a lot of history. So we come down to the section map, and you see that there's 6 sections. A, B, C is the old section. 1, 2, 3 is the new section. And so we could see that Susan Weber would be buried in Section 2. But you might say, but where in Section 2? Well, we click on the map, and I know it's very small, but I can make it larger, or I can press Control P or F and type in Weber, and you can see that she's at 438, wherever that might be here, right? Right here, right there. And it's oriented, so Main Street is here, and over here you can see the cemetery road. And so you will be able to find where she is, but wait, there's more. As I said before, you could upload pictures. This is really going to be an amazing tool for the schools. That rhymes. And that was Susan when she was younger, and this is Susan as she was older. She came over to take care of her nephew, Charlie, and his kids. But wait, there's more. As I said before, you could upload documents. Now, we at the Historical Society are lucky because we have documents coming out of our ears. So this is an interview of Susan Weber in 1931, 19 years after the Titanic. And if you were to read this, you would go, woof, man, glad I wasn't there. So that's one. I want to share with you one other one, and then I'll end with one last. The next person is Jarvis Blinn that I wanted to share with you. Jarvis is another Rocky Hillian, and you see Jarvis right here, Section A, 183. And now he is a veteran. He was in the Civil War. If we click on his details, you can see his stone here. You might notice that his stone is cracked right there, and this stone was repaired. That, again, it shows you where he is, and date of birth, date of death. And this time we have, yes, he's a veteran, and the war era. And his inscription, you can see that he was in the 14th Regiment. But wait. Of course, with the wayfinding, so Section A, you just click on it, and you'll find Blinn up here. I won't go into that one because I know you already know how to do that. And a picture, that's Jarvis Blinn, who died in the Battle of Antietam, and his last words were, "I'm a dead man." Sorry to say, but that's what's reported. And again, the documents can be uploaded, and this is an article on repairing that stone back in 2014. They repaired it, and you can read that article, and you see the people, the descendants of Jarvis Blinn, who are the Gilberts. And further on, the Civil War enactors actually came up with the money for that out of Manchester. And the last thing I'll leave you with is something that I think is just very exciting. If we go over to veterans here and we click on yes, and we do a search, we find that there are 224 veterans that we now have documented. And if we scroll over to the war era, we can sort them by the era. And if I scroll down, you can see the incredible history that we have at Center Cemetery. Look at all the Civil War veterans, a number of them. These are in alphabetical order: French, Korea, Revolution, a lot of Revolutionary War heroes, and of course we have the people who were buried just recently. Joe Kohanek, who is in the newest section, Section 3. Joe was a Navy man, and I'll leave you with the inscription. It says, "Those whom we love and lose are no longer where they were before. They are now wherever we are." So we are very excited to give this to the town, and we thank everybody who supported this project. If there's any questions or comments, I could take them. I also wanted, Mark, did you want to say something? This is Mark Ambrose.
Hello, everybody. Just wanted to say that it's hard to believe that it's been just about a year since we started talking about it, presented it to the council, and actually doing it. With the help of Ed and Bob and Ray, the project became a big success. Also, the help from Maria Librio from Rose Hill Memorial Park, her contributions and her insight on helping smaller cemeteries grow is a big factor. So I hope you use this new website, and if you have questions, this is the guy to ask. Thank you.
Bob, did you want to say anything? Okay. All set?
Yeah, no, thank you. Do you guys have any questions? No, I think that's incredibly exciting. I know we're really thrilled about it, and we thank all of you. We know it's been a labor of love and a lot of work, and you're absolutely right. It's going to be a tremendous resource for our children and grandchildren, our students. It will transcend generations. It will continue to live long after we are not here. And so thank you for doing this. I'm actually excited to go there and look.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Mayor.
Okay, great.
All right, something less exciting, subsection D, approval of the 2023-2024 budget schedule. So that's what Ray was referring to. I think everyone should have a copy of it.
I'll make a motion to approve the 23-24 budget schedule.
Second.
Any discussion?
Just one quick question. Once we approve this, is it possible for us to get like iCal things of this to put in our calendars? Or?
Sure.
Yeah.
That'd be helpful.
Yep.
That was it.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Great. Okay, so we're going to start with the mayor's report. Happy first day of spring. Woohoo, 524. Just to tell you, there was a very, very successful Rocky Hill Education Foundation event where the Harlem Wizards came in and they played the Dream Team. And we want to thank Rita and the whole team who put everything together. Excuse me, everyone at the Education Foundation. We had a number of players from the community, from our police department, our teachers, administrators, staff.
Right.
Did you have names?
Yeah, I have some names, Madam Mayor. I can
Sure.
read them if
Yeah.
you don't mind. So a lot of high school volunteers: Bill Ramos, Ronnie Orsini, Alyssa Perna, Lily Margiota, Faith Bellevue. I'm sorry if I butchered somebody's last name. Sydney Maxwell, Amanda Giordano, Kyra Ho, Emma Burrows, Paige Marchand. And then town volunteers, again, Rita is always in front, Rita Chabra, our own Rita Chabra, but then there were like town volunteers, Todd Marchand, Heather Marchand, Diane Krause, Brenda Giordano, and Michelle Joke. And so I just want to thank everyone who was part of this, especially the Education Foundation. And I think I got all the names. I think I did. And if I missed anyone, I really apologize.
I like how he usurps the mayor's report. Okay. No slides, thank goodness. Okay. Yeah, so that was really great. I think there were probably like 900 people who came. It was packed. There was dancing. It was just an amazing night. This group, Harlem Wizards, had everyone out on the floor, out on the court. It was unbelievable to see it. So much action, and I hope that the Education Foundation brings that back again. Thank you to the President, Mr. Vassal, and to all of the members of the Ed Foundation for your very hard work in bringing that together. And of course, all of that money goes right back to the school district in the form of enrichment programs and pilot programs and resources for the children. The Taste of Ramadan is coming on March 25th. I'm super excited about that. Some of us here have gone to those dinners, and I'm honored that they are bringing it here to Rocky Hill this year. It'll be from 5 to 8 p.m. at the Rocky Hill Community Center on the 25th, which is this Saturday. You do have to sign up and register, but you can do that online if you're interested in attending. I want to encourage all of our businesses out there to register with the Middlesex Chamber of Commerce, because as you know, Rocky Hill has a division now, and it is growing, and there are so many free opportunities for your business, resources and classes. You would not believe what you can get out of your membership. I would encourage everyone, even just go check out the Middlesex Chamber of Commerce website and see what you get for your membership. It's unbelievable. Sustainable Rocky Hill this Thursday, the 23rd at 5:30, will be hosting a meeting here in council chambers, and they are looking for your input on a roadmap for this year. So please mark your calendars and come out and let your voice be heard on some what you think they should be working on and how you can get involved in all of those initiatives. April 5th, the Rocky Hill PD is hosting a traffic stop simulation for individuals with ASD. April is Autism Awareness Month, and ASD is Autism Spectrum Disorder. And it's important for folks to come out if they have family members who will be driving to go through a simulation of what it's like to actually be pulled over for whatever reason. It's a very stressful time and uncertainty, and could be very loud and so on and so forth. So thank you to the PD for hosting that event. I want to give a big shout out to the Rocky Hill High School students from Girl Up Club and Justice for All Club. They held an event. It was their very, very first event it was called Women in Action, and it was to celebrate International Women's Day. They had this really incredible panel of women who came and they shared their stories, their struggles, their experience, and their wisdom to the Rocky Hill students. I want to thank, in particular, Viviana Guzman, the Rocky Hill High School Spanish teacher, for leading this very important work and for amplifying so many voices. As Councilor Prakash mentioned, and I know that Town Manager Carpentino has in his report, there are bills flying fast and furious out of the Capitol. I'm going to be testifying later this month on some bills that would negatively impact us, potentially our budget, and potentially our municipal autonomy. There's just so many great ideas out there, right? But some of them are just not properly vetted. They certainly have not asked us for our opinions as to how we would be impacted as a municipality, how our budgets would be impacted, and that's really a key element that's missing. So I feel compelled to testify, and hopefully we can see some tweaks made to so many of these bills that are out there. I am still waiting on any lawmaker, to pick up the recommended legislation that I helped put together through my Public Safety Committee on best practices and for funding for SROs. That's really important. I was unaware of Mr. Winfield's bill.
Yeah.
It sounds like it's very, very different.
Yes.
So let's see where that goes. I'm on DEEP's CCSMM, and then we have many subcommittees. I sit on the reuse, reduce, recycle, it's this very long word, I don't know, subcommittee. And we had this really cool meeting last week. We had some guests from Washington, and they talked about the Bill Emerson Act, which is the federal act which was signed into law by President Clinton. And it was just updated by the Biden administration, and the food scrap people will like this. So it provides liability protection now for food donors, because one of the big issues has always been for our restaurants and places like a Starbucks. They have all this extra food at night. It's perfectly good quality food, and they're not allowed to donate it, right? So what this program is doing, it's encouraging participation at every level, federal level, state level, municipal level, to have these programs that encourage your restaurants and your food providers to sell that leftover, right? And there is a purpose for that. First of all, the goal is to keep the food in the food stream and not actually have to dispose of it, right? I mean, composting is good, but not having to send it to an anaerobic digester because it's good food. So keep it in the food stream. And then to reduce the stigma that people have of accepting leftovers, quote unquote leftovers, restaurants can sell it. They're supposed to sell it for an extremely reduced price. And now let's say it's a restaurant in town. They may not know necessarily, okay, I'm going to have 4 steaks and 12 raviolis left over. So they do like a mystery bag dinner, sold at a fraction of the cost. And so it's really important to the Biden administration to increase food dignity, to increase food choice, to increase nutrition and food access. And so that's where this whole recovery of food is coming in. And I think it's really cool, and it should maybe be something we would like to explore here. Let me see what else I can tell you. They did tell us that food waste, I think they're saying that the country's food waste, oh, no, wait, my notes are scratchy. The idea, so the whole concept here is to decrease food waste by 50% by 2030. And they plan to do that. The goal to do that, I mean, it's 2030 is really right around the corner, but the goal to doing that is to keep the food in the human supply chain, right? They said that the U.S. throws away 1/3 of the food, and when they did all types of testing, they found out that 70% was edible especially prepared food, and 30% was not. And the 30% is what we should focus on, the composting, like the bones and the banana peels and the eggshells, right? But the rest of it, we should be focused on keeping it in the food stream. And so if you want to learn more about that, there is a federal website, and the slogan is cook it, store it, share it. And I think that's about it. They said, this is the last thing, they said, look at your fridge, manage your food differently, and that's where the cook it, store it, and share it kind of thing came from. And that's it. And now turn it over to Mr. Carpentino.
Just to follow up on the Harlem Wizards game, I'm still just about over with the image of Counselor Prakash in a gym uniform and dancing. So.
You can see those images on my Facebook page.
I can see them when I close my eyes. So
The music was too good. It was just too good. I mean, there's no way to stop yourself. I don't know how everybody else does it, but sorry, guys, to put you through it, but that image in your head, Ray, I'm sorry about that. But
besides that, it was a fantastic event. It really was. Just to follow up on the Autism Month, April, the blue lights will be installed as usual around the municipal campus. Just going down the list, the Historical Society will be adding additional historic markers around the campus with the help of our Highway Department and our Community Development Office. We finally were able to get a meeting with Connecticut DOT concerning our $500,000 bond grant that Representative Wood won for the town for the Old Forge Bridge going into the Business Park Phase 2 at the end of Old Forge Road. Steve Sopelak met with DOT's consulting engineer to go over some of the initial details. That will be for a grant for design of the bridge. As was mentioned, there's seems like hundreds of thousands of bills floating around. What I attached were just some bills that CCM have been tracking, but there are so many other ones. And the ones I kind of highlighted here are the ones that were detrimental to municipalities, particularly Rocky Hill. I'm not going to get into it, but that can be a whole, 3-day discussion. I attended, along with the mayor and some police officers, ribbon cutting at Tucker Mechanical, located in I-91 Business Center. They occupy that space. They relocated from Meriden back in January. And I attended the Chamber, Middlesex Chamber's first Chamber After Dark, they're calling it now, at Rudy's. It's the first one of the season. It was really well attended by quite a few businesses and a few municipal employees. I'm not sure when the next one is, but it should be really well attended. I do want to add a couple of things to my report. As you have received in your package a letter from Chief Custer. He has officially retired, effective April 1st. He will be enjoying his life in Florida. So we're in the process of looking for an interim at this point. And so that will be coming down the pike really soon. I did reach out to Belfonte companies, finding out what their next step is. It's been quiet. People have been asking. They close on their loan next week, and they plan on coming in and starting the project, hopefully getting some permits before the end of May. And the Park and Rec Department will be hosting Hop Around the Hill. on Saturday, April 1st, from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. The event is sold out already. So. And that is all I have.
Question for Ray. You mentioned the town's looking at hiring an interim, which of course makes sense given the timeline of the chief constabl's retirement. Do we know what the process looks like for hiring a new chief, and is that internal to the town municipal hiring process, or is that something that the council or the public weighs in on? It's the first time I remember coming up in
There
a
are
while.
a couple of avenues. It could be appointed. It could go through the town council, similar to how we did this position. As far as the interim, I imagine it would be a recommendation from me.
And then I guess perhaps Dana would give us a more formal
Yes.
update on the process as we get more time to evaluate the options.
Yeah, the next meeting, it has to be very soon.
Thank you.
Okay, motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?